I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, but there's logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus, living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas. No, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope that everybody had an awesome weekend. I certainly did. I went to a wedding and spent some time with my wife, and also was able to grab the new stress titties. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, and this is your first time tuning in, wow, what an intro to walk into. I'm your host, Birdie. I go live weeknights at 7 p.m. Central. Welcome to the Hive Mind. This is a contrarian thinking live stream. So we like to think past the headlines. We question the narrative. We've been going deep on the Idaho 4 case, and tonight will be no different. We are really, really committed to trying to, at this point, force the truth out. I do believe that that is what it's going to take. And in tonight's stream, what I want to do is I have a bunch of Hive Mind finds. I'd like to highlight some of the awesome work that people who are in our Discord have been posting in there. And so I had said that I wanted to do that probably at the start of last week. And so I'm trying to continue to incorporate that into the stream. And I was texting Luna and Sleuth, who are awesome and help find some documents for me. They'll screen record stuff for me so that I can get them on the slides. And we found one of the Hive Mind finds from Thoughts Loading, and it has to do with the curly fries. And that's what we're going to be diving into towards the back half of this stream. And I'm very curious to get all of your thoughts on that. As you're filing in, please go ahead, hit that like button. If you have not scanned this QR code or you would like to join our Discord, all you got to do is screenshot this. And then when the live concludes, go to your Photos app. That'll bring up all of the Hive socials. Same thing with Hive Plus. If you'd like to have access to the emojis and get the loyalty badge next to your name, the mods will be dropping that link. All of the streams are free, except for on a handful of Saturdays. I will continue to stream. The stream's free. Everybody can watch it, but the chat will be shut down just for the Hive Plus members on those select Saturdays. Here is the full screen disclaimer. And now let's go ahead and check out the results of the poll that I had posted in the chat. And the question that I had asked was, does the quote unquote timeline, and I used air quotes, change if curly fries are in both Kaylee and Xana's room? If I had to answer that, I would say yes, just because I also knew what I meant by timeline and air quotes. I could have probably provided more context to that. Meaning, does the order of how they were attacked change? Is there truth to Xana walking up the stairs? If Xana was in the kitchen and heard a ruckus and walked upstairs and she's holding fries, does that give some credibility to that statement? As we heard on Dateline and a handful of other productions. So I'm curious to hear what you all think. And again, I could have worded that better, so my apologies, but that is what I meant. Does it change the quote unquote timeline, meaning who was attacked first, where they were attacked? Does it give any credibility to Xana being the one who was in the kitchen at that time? Let's go ahead and see who's all tuning in. What's up, Gurmilla? Polar Life Force, good to see you. Golden Cheek Unredacted, how you doing? Third Eye Not Blind said, it does not matter since Molly ordered it and delivered it. Ethan was first. Arya Stark said, yes, it does. Twisted Timo says, no, 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 and no. Lou Stone, how are you doing? Les Awake said, it's a lot more fun here. Love our mods. We do have the best mods on YouTube, being formerly known as Beck, Discord Dog, Luda Bliss, and the UFO Dog. They will give you enough leash to hang yourself. So if you dish it out, I reserve the right, and give everybody in the chat the right to go ahead and dish it on right back. UFO Dog said, high knee deep in stress titties. BBB. Dino in the hizzy for shizzy getting tizzies. Mindful Hayes said, I don't believe their timeline to begin with, but I did vote yes because it does mean something. Logical answer. Thank you, Hilarious. I appreciate that. Happy Father's Day to all of the dads out in the Hive. Nova said, hello from Nova Scotia, Canada, Maritimes. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always fun to see where people are tuning in from. The YouTube algorithm seems to love the UK, Australia, Canada. Melissa Jane said, I don't believe any of the girls ran down the stairs. If anyone did, it would have been the suspect or suspects. It's a good thought. I've had that same thought in the past. Yipsy Gecko says, what up, Hive? Tripsy Turvy, it's going well. Hope you're doing good. Giraffes, bruh. What up, man? Critter, how are you doing? Tiffany Elena said their stomach contents do. Facts. Hot Girl Bummer 520 said, hey, Birdie. Hey, mods. Hey, chat. Thank you, Sydney Lord Lifestyle. Right back at all of you guys. Okay, Crazy Bird Lady. Let's see what Crazy Bird Lady said. I don't think Kaylee was alive at 4 a.m. when the DoorDash supposedly got there. So to me, this changes a lot. Beverly Fike, how are you doing? King, I love it. I don't know what to believe anymore. Same. You know, I will say it's been a long time since I've been able to drive and just listen to a full video. Most times I'll turn it on and then I'll get a call, or the drive wherever I have to go is not that long. But I did have a longer drive home, and I had a chance to listen to Jay and Bree's video that he put out today about the cell phone towers. And it really piqued my interest, and I thought it was really well done. I think Pav does do good deep dives, especially when it gets technical. He's explained the cell towers very, very well, in my opinion. And this video today also did a good job. Not trying to glaze Pav, but I have, I have no problem with Pav. I think he does great research. His video today, though, did really spark a lot of ideas in my mind as to how Brian Koberger is connected to this crime. We've dove into the funding. We've dove into WSU. But if you have not seen his video today, watch it till the end, because what he says and how he believes LE was trying to tie Brian Koberger to this crime is rather mind-blowing. So no spoiler alerts here. Go and check that out. Chaos and Christina said, I just don't trust curly fries in general. Potatoes shouldn't bend that way. That's funny. Philly Girl said, only if the perps were hungry. Cold fries suck. True. What's up? Jessica Caratelli, how are you doing? Sleuther Dare said, could be part of the staging. Also, Hive, if you guys have not checked out the quick cut for the call-in show, I tried my best for this last quick cut to really edit in all of the points that the callers brought up with visuals. And so if you have not checked that out, I posted that a little bit later on Sunday because it took me a lot longer as far as doing the quick cuts. But I think that it really helps give validity to just how awesome the callers are and the points that they bring up. Gima Band-Aid said, DM is the one that was hungry. I think the fries were hers. Third Eye Blind said there's no coincidences in life. Tam Cam said the perps used the victims' phones to order the food. Appreciate that. Luna said it was a great video. Love the edit. Formerly known as Beck said, you hyped it. Love it. Shout out to the mods. Jamie, glad you could make it. Hilarious said, I think Xana was already unalived before the DoorDash arrived. That's a good poll. I'm going to do that. Do you believe that Xana was unalived when Dee arrived? All right. So in the chat, Hive, all you got to do to vote is type a 1 for yes or a 2 for no on your keypad. It'll automatically populate. And the question is, do you believe that Xana was unalived when the DoorDash arrived? Meaning, was she already deceased? Appreciate that, altruistic murder. I just saw your comment fly by. I didn't have time to click it, but you said done good on that. I was hanging out with my granddaughter, enjoyed the quick edit. Appreciate that. I also did see some emails come in, so I will be getting to those as well. And we did get an auto response set up today. Again, shout out to the mods. So at least when you send an email, you're going to know that it's sent to the right inbox. So it'll auto send saying that it has been received. Because I know some people are asking, have you received it? Have you received it? So now we got that set up. Okay, so this is a rather lopsided poll. And 88% of people believe that Xana was already deceased by the time the DoorDash arrived. 87% said yes. Only 13% said no. What would you all say the main reason for that is? Would you say it's the audio? Luna, it's a family show. Would you say that it's the audio that really causes that voting? Just Jackie said yes. Joy said, didn't the autopsy state she had digested food in her stomach? And I know Shawley had pointed out too that Ethan's couldn't have had any food in his stomach for, and Shawley, forgive me, I believe he had said 2 to 4 hours. Amy said the audio. Sleuther Dare said their phone. Truth Seeker said Dylan ordered from Xana's phone. Mindful Haze, I do agree with the audio. That's kind of why I think I would tend to lean more that way, as I do believe the audio says a lot. Lou Stone said Xana's stomach contents. Truth Sleuth says yes, a narrative to follow a script. CGE 33333 said they were all gone by 3. I would agree. Beck, some of these comments, dark humor. Peck the little llama mama said, hey, Barbie, I just made the live a little late, but I'm here. Well, thank you, Peck the little llama mama. It's like when Shawley Redacted said, hi, Mr. Birdie. I felt like James Bond. All right, let's get into this, shall we? Thank you all again so much for tuning in. If you have not hit that like button, please go ahead and do so. Hitting like, hitting subscribe is the best way to support the Hive. And let's get into it. So if you're not familiar with what a Hive Mind Find is, and this might be repetitive for people that have been tuning in for a while, but we do have a lot of new faces. Join our Discord, and we have a thread. It's like a chat room that you can post what you find. You can post your theories, and I go through those each day, and I'm getting back to having a segment of every stream have Hive Mind Finds. It's kind of a tongue twister. And the reason why is because there's so much coming out. There's so much going on, and we collectively work together in here at the end of the day. So I know that I'm not going to be able to figure everything out. However, when somebody does, and we put it up in front of many minds, many eyes, ideally we can figure out the truth on it. And so tonight, the first Hive Mind Find, this one blew my mind. And I actually signed up for a court document thing. It's called Pacer, I believe. But I had to call them to get like the search access approved, and I was like 40th in line, which I don't even believe that robot voice that came on the phone. They were like, you are 40th in line. It'll be an hour and 15 minutes. And I hung up. But I'm going to try to access some of these documents. This is crazy if it's true. Not that I'm doubting anything Fluffy 777 has to say in this, but I could not find the raw document. However, this is what Fluffy had posted in the Discord. Check this out. And so Jesse James Bailey's street name was BK. He had ties to Arizona. Now, what a coincidence that they have had a huge bust there, taking down weapons, fentanyl, and meth the same day BK was arrested. So I think it was, I looked that up. I think it was like earlier in the week. I don't know if it was the exact same day, just again, for trying to be as accurate as possible, but it was the same week Brian Kuberger was arrested. Was he arrested for his own safety, or is he working with the feds? I believe that he is, until I see proof otherwise. And you can see here, this is from Google AI that she had screenshotted and included in this, or that Fluffy had screenshotted and included in this. While federal indictments and DEA records explicitly list quote unquote BK as Jesse James Bailey's primary street alias, law enforcement has not publicly disclosed the exact origin or meaning of the nickname. Now, I put that on here because we all know what happened in March. We all know about the takedown, and they said it was a 1.5 year ongoing investigation. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to try to find any sort of arrest record that has the street aliases or nicknames for Jesse James Bailey. If that's on there, in my mind, that changes a lot. I think it really does change a lot, because now you think about Steve G in the victim impact statements, and he's like, I'm not even going to say your name. And he says BK. Do you all remember when, how often has Steve G said BK? I mean, does anybody else feel like that is rather telling if true? That's exactly right. Truth Sleuth 100. It says, so who really knew BK? Makes you wonder. And Angel Heart said tons of times. Altruistic Murder said, I'll be dipped. I mean, that is a crazy coincidence, or it's not a coincidence. Brandon said definitely. Uma said a lot. Becky said yes. Mindful Hayes says, Wild Bill says yes. Mumrad said yes. Formerly known as Beck said a ton of times. Hilarious said hell to the yes. It's for sure interesting. I never know how to really dive into that as far as how deep of an angle that would be. Brian Koberger, Steve G referring to him as BK. Well, yes, in a simple world, it is his initials. But what are the odds that, if confirmed, is one of Jesse James Bailey's street names? I mean, at that point, it almost would it make it easier for some people to potentially accept an undercover dynamic if that is confirmed with a document? If somebody in here, if there are people in here that maybe don't necessarily believe Brian Koberger could be working some sort of public facing patsy willing and knowingly, would that confirmation of a street alias change your mind? I think that's a good question. I'm curious to see what people are going to say about that. Right. So Clue Smith said he was arrested in March of 2023. Yep. There was a giant, massive takedown. Lou Stone said, yep. Brandon Rudder, how many times have we said it seems like Steve G's talking through the camera? The victim impact statements. Brandon said, shit, maybe the whole victim impact statement was directed at him. I don't know. Angel Heart said, I believe that they were setting up Kopaka. Mindful Hayes says SG is definitely involved somehow. Obviously, just theorizing, not saying anything as a matter of fact. I have always wondered as far as just connections, not immediate family connections with his brother. Such a deep rabbit hole. It's hard to keep all the lines straight and not get any wires crossed. Formerly known as Beck said, SG speaks in code, changed my mind. And Lisa Marie said, love you all, Birdie, Beck, Luna, UFO Dog, Discord D, and the Hive. Well, thank you so much, Lisa Marie. Appreciate you for the super chat and for the kind words. J44330 said, DoorDash was to change the timeline and for Molly to remove the items. I completely agree with that. I believe that Molly was a CI that was tapped on the shoulder and said, play your part, girl. Go pick this up from Jack in the Box. We need you to go there, walk around, act like you're lost. There's a camera right here. Make sure you go out far enough so it can see you. I don't think that that's a stretch to have happened. I believe that by the time we are all done diving into this, there is a significant chance that the camera manipulation and audio manipulation, depending on how drastic it actually is, I do think there's a chance that the internet could fully expose that. And Angel Heart, as always, thank you for the 5 Birdie Hive Plus memberships and gifting those. You rock for that. MVP on the gifting of memberships. Lynn said, yep, Molly's 100% involved in some way. Third Eye Not Blind said, it'll be amazing when people realize how many of these family are related. Go do your thing, girl. Appreciate that, Angel Heart. Okay, so back to this. Again, I'm just going to put this full screen. I mean, Federal indictments and DEA records explicitly list BK as Jesse James Bailey's primary street alias. Now, in preparation for the stream, I did go and download where is it? Is this it? Nope. I did go and download this entire like court document summary of this. I'm just trying to find it. And if I can't. I downloaded a lot of stuff. But it is interesting. It made me definitely dive into it a lot more, trying to see what the heck that could be. Oh, I can't find it in the downloads. Okay, well, thank you, Fluffy, for posting that. That is extremely interesting. Now, this comes from KDB. I've never seen this before. This is from an Instagram post. I believe that whoever runs this page of the In Memory of MKEX also has TikToks, and I believe they have a Facebook page, but a rather popular username for posting things about the Idaho 4 case, especially in the beginning. And I had never noticed this before. KDB said, "Look what I found. Read the message below this photo. I have read and reread to make sure I'm reading it correctly. It appears that I am. I find this interesting. Let me know what you think. Thank you." And the full post said, "Xana and Ethan's love story will never end. They were madly in love. That night, they both tried to protect each other. Xana was a true heroine. She fought with incredible strength to save herself, but also for Ethan. She wanted to protect him. Ethan wouldn't have been caught off guard. We all know he would have put that monster in her place because no one had the right to harm Xana." Now, again, could be a typo, but it is interesting that it said, we all know that he would have put that monster in her place. I don't know how much, we can read into a 2-letter difference of an IS versus an ER. However, I don't think that it would be outside of the realm of possibilities. A female killer could have been involved. I'll ask you all that question. What do you think is one of the biggest arguments in favor of there being a female killer potentially involved? Altruistic murder brings up a good point. 2 out of 3 letters. Mama Never Tried said hair in his hands showed that he tried. Def seems like female hair. Just Jackie said it's on point. Lovely Me said he tried. Remember the untested hair. CGE 3333 said Chris Whitcomb kind of hinted at that. Marsha Mayhew said 100,000% or 1,000,000%. Lauren Lovely said 1,000% girl involved. Ulsterman said absolutely. Just Jackie said yes. Miss Martin again brings up the hair. Same thing with less is more. Tiffany said how hard Xana fought was a giveaway. Saber Rattling Jock said bazillion%. Altruistic Murder said 3 female killers. Cookies Corner 420, good to see you, said the hair and how long Xana had to fight back. Indy Lizzie said the autopsy. Don't Drink Chunky Milk said the rage. K-Kaz Girl said 100, 100, 100. Simply Solo said jealousy. Sherry agrees. Lisa Marie agrees. Is there anybody that doesn't think there was a female involved in this? Type a 1 if you believe that there were no females Just no females involved. Type of 2. Well, I don't even want to do that. Just type of 1 if you don't think any girls were involved, and that's okay. Tam Cam said the hair could have been Mouch's. He had long hair. I mean, not testing the hair could be for a variety of reasons. One of them is just that they know who's it most likely is at this point, you know. Or they already knew at that point whose it was. Casey Ranch said, I think some of the screaming is the woman attacking someone. CB from Philly said, look, if Brian Koberger doesn't speak up soon, I'm his own defense. It's time to move on. It's so weird if he doesn't, in my opinion. I think it's weirder if he doesn't than if he were to. Krista said extensions would equal debris. Yes, it's been a great point. Great point. Tara said they know whose it is. Becky agreed. Sleuth said you can hear some pretty evil woman laughs in the audio. Yeah, I meant the actual attacks. Correct, Twisted Timo. Indy Lizzie said we need to know if he can speak out. I feel like the simple answer could be like, of course he can. I mean, there's a lot of people that do. Why isn't he though? I mean, yeah, I'd be curious. You're right, Indy Lizzie. Like, what would stop him from not talking? All right. So thank you, KDB, for the submission for the Hive Mind Finds. Again, that's in our Discord if you'd like to send something in. And the next one, okay, this one's a combined Hive Mind Find. So Duke Scribe 777. So we had Fluffy 777, Duke Scribe 777, and AWT 97. Okay, so check this out, Hive. Duke Scribe said, Birdie, in relation to your call-in show 4 days ago, so this would have been this last Friday, last week, I've been sitting on a theory of Odinism involvement for a while. After your caller brought it up, that sparked my interest again. Let's look at some of the possible signs. A recently skinned dog, experimental wounds carved on the victims, hair in Ethan's hand and hair present at both bedroom scenes. Is that ritualistic? Weird numerology involvement, 1122 and 11 or November 13th, 2022, etc. Precision of hunting-like injuries, subclavian, etc. This could explain indiscriminate sacrifice type slangs. Look into the Delphi murder scene. We should try to find out if any names involved in this case practice Odinism. Be that frats, sororities, LE, friends, lovers, school, faculty, Kopaka, Mowich, cults, Christchurch, listed witnesses, Uber drivers, AK. It could tie in closely with the vampirism theory also. Just some food for thought. I've just seen this and I agree is what AWT said. And AWT then posted this screenshot, which I did not know this about November 12th. And let me also just say, I'm kind of zooming out for this Hive Mind Find. I'm looking at this from a 40,000 foot view, and I'll play a video clip after this. But what AWT 97 had replied to this and said, I've just seen this and I agree, had a screenshot and it said, in the modern Odinist and heathen calendars, Saturday, the 12th of November, 2022, served as the primary active communal celebration day for the entire month of Fog Moon, while the official solar date for the feast of Einherjar, which is Heroes Day, is fixed to the 11th of November. It fell on a Friday in 2022. Because of this, most active kindreds shifted their real-world gathering real world gatherings, their blots, which is also known as a sacrifice, and ancestral feasts to Saturday, the 12th, November 2022. Okay, so that's weird. And if you remember, I had Scott Payne on. So if you have not watched that episode, you're interested in learning about undercover FBI agents or Odinism. Scott Payne was undercover inside of the outlaw motorcycle gang. And he talked about where he had to go to a blot and they sacrificed a goat for Odin. The outlaw motorcycle gang is a white supremacist gang. They do practice Odinism. Now, you can look up Odinism, look up prison gangs, look up white supremacy gangs. At first, on its face, that might seem a little bit crazy. It might. It probably does to a lot of people. And then we, again, if you want to, go check it out. This is the updated thumbnail for the Scott Payne episode. But then, when I was looking at the victim impact statements while I was editing together what Beck's Tats had said on her call in, and just about how the unfortunate situation with her son and the victim impact statements was nothing like the Idaho 4 victim impact situation with the swearing, the cussing, the turning the podium, the clapping, I had remembered something that Olivia had said that refers maybe to this. I'll let you all be the judge on that.
Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Why November 13th? Why November 13th?
So I feel like that's a rather interesting question. Now, I know that it says that it fell onto the 12th of November, 2022. However, Saturday to early morning, maybe they could count that. I guess technically past midnight. I don't know, but does anybody think that it's a little bit strange why she would ask that specific date? Or no? Is that a weird thing to ask somebody who said, why would you pick that date? I mean, could it be just because, why did you pick that day? Could it be relating to because Kaylee was back? Right? But why did you pick November 13th? There's some other questions too that are asked that are a little bit just odd. Think twice, said not at all. It's her. Eye roll. Try to click that. There you go. Love and Other Habits said it's weird. Aria said it's weird. Truth Sleuth said Olivia was there. She knows a lot. Realize, Analyze said the 13th. Tara said, yeah, that's scratchy. Haley said, no, that's so weird. What's up, Tasha from the block? Yes, maybe. Altruistic Murder said she asked that date for a reason. River Bear Teacup said she just assumes it was him doing it randomly. Sleuther Dare said, wasn't there like a galaxy thing with the moon or something? Yeah, we showed it like a month and a half, 2 months ago. There was a news report. I think it was, now I'm forgetting if it was like over Boise, but it showed that meteor thing. It was crazy. It was like a driveway camera. Crazy Bird Lady said, I don't know. I just never bought into the Odinism stuff. So how much would it take for people to, again, I'm not arguing. I'm not trying to change your mind or anything, but I'm just saying, like, in my head, I'm like, well, I don't know if you can't count it in that it could be. I mean, you have this right here on the screen. You do have post-mortem wounds or signature wounds. If the Jesse James Bailey thing is true with the whole BK being a street name alias, that's crazy. But we know that if it is tied to something in a white supremacist gang, from talking to people here in the Hive, we know that they practice Odinism. I'm not sure. I think there's something there, though, where it could be on the table. I think that the G family has been speaking through the camera for a long time. True to It said, Bohemian Grove is real. On and on. Crazy Bird Lady said, Birdie, I agree. I don't necessarily agree with it sorry, hang on. Flew by. I don't necessarily agree with it, but at this point, the only thing I can exclude is that BK did it alone. Anything else is possible. Facts. Mindful Hay said, it would depend on how you believed it happened. Texas teacher said, I think Delphi involved Odinism. I think there's a lot of people that believe that. Sweet Sativa 1 said, Freemasons run the world. Amy said, DM, the artwork is scary. CB from Philly said the G family got something new on their page of an argument. Shawley Redacted said, I've got work in 6 hours, so I got to dip. Loved the quick cut, Mr. Birdie. I was hoping you watched the quick cut, Shawley. I was so excited for you to see that. Phantom, thanks for being a member of Hot Plus for a month. Said, keeping my mind open on anything. I believe that it is still important at this point to do so. Trace Hodges says, I could find out about JJB alias as I work for DOC. Dude, Trace, join the Discord. That'd be extremely clutch. As Finest Frog Hair said, with the what she deemed birdisms, would anybody else in here shit a golden brick? Not even a chicken, just a straight up brick. If it came out that Jesse James Bailey had a street alias of BK, I would. I think that would explain a lot of the oddities. Appreciate that, Trace, again. Steven said it. Ouch. Appreciate that, Marsha Mayhew. I'd bring the Hive with me. We'd crash out. We'd get you out. A brick wall, Crazy Birdie Lady said, or Crazy Bird Lady said. I don't know why I always say Birdie Lady. It's just a habit. There you are, Finest Frog Hair. Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying your week at home without the hubby. Just Jackie 47 said, I heard Cole goes by Kohlberger. Yes, we had a caller call in and tell that to us. And there are people that have posted in the Discord confirming that. Yes, I don't have it on these slides, but yes, that was very interesting. And I did not know. Also, apparently Cole Berenberg changed his name and moved to Arkansas. Okay, that sounds good. Birdie's Hive Mind at gmail.com. Appreciate you. Yowza. Cookie's Corner said, I have some proof of Brian's alibi. Interesting. What does that proof look like? So then also too, so speaking of that, okay, I'll play this one more time. Then I have one more video clip. So speaking of that, this will be again, Olivia asking why that date. Could it be cryptic? Maybe, maybe not.
Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Why November 13th? Why November 13th?
Okay, so even the first question is a little bit weird. Now, okay. You guys, if you've watched or tuned in for a while, you know that I always geek out about footage, video. I don't understand how certain things happen, even if it's back in 2022, even if it's a court system CCTV, even if it's just a Ring doorbell camera or some camera, there's not just quality issues, it's movement issues. I understand frame rate. I understand I get all of that. I get it. I want you all to watch this, and I want you to also just look at the tone of Brian. Look at not his body language. I'm saying the color of him, the color of his shirt. Look at his hairline, like at the top of his head. I want you to watch Ann. Okay. I'm just going to let this play. You all tell me if you notice or don't notice anything.
Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all?
He's not even moving.
Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see.
Okay. All that I did was I went and I searched Olivia Yakovlev's Idaho for victim impact statements. And I just zoomed in on the little quadrant, how they have the 4 quadrants. I just zoomed in and screen recorded it. That's all that I did. They don't move. They like glitch slightly. I don't know if they moved at all. Now, I want to talk about this because I think this is very important. I do believe that this is very important because at a certain point, guys, when it happens this many times in footage around this case, it's not just every camera is bad. So that would mean that the car park camera is bad, the Linda Lane dumpster camera is bad, 1112 is bad, the court camera is bad, grub truck footage across the street is bad. No, that's a pattern. That's a pattern, big time. And there's a reason why it is all bad. Because it hides the small little artifacts or the little editing anomalies, in my opinion. Okay? That's a 2-minute clip. Yeah, the body cam footage is bad. Great point. Marquet. Sorry if I messed that name up. None of them blinked. None of them moved. Right. That's 2025 right there, too. That is 2025. That is post-COVID when you have to do how many cases via video conference and video call. And even if I just looked at this, it looks superimposed into this. I don't know how to prove it. I'm never going to be able to prove it, most likely. But I'm telling you, it looks that way compared to a lot. Whenever I will do it, whenever I edit stuff, if it's a thumbnail, if it's a slide for the stream, anybody that's even in graphic design is going to know this. It's not blended. The colors don't match. Now, what's confusing is I don't remember if Devil's Advocates was at this one or at this particular hearing, if he was at the victim impact statements or what he was at. But clearly he was there. I mean, DA said he was there and DA saw him. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the same thing we're seeing. One of the biggest things that makes me pause on this and really sit back and think to myself, okay, it's strange on its face how it looks. But now, even if Brian, I shouldn't even just say even if Brian, even if any defendant was sitting there as a psychotic serial killer that's trying to intimidate somebody, you're going to tell me that neither of the attorneys are looking at each other like, what is she doing? Not looking at the judge saying, what's going on? Why are you allowing this? Not right. I mean, that's crazy.
Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words?
Guys, I mean, there's nothing going on here.
Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you?
It's not.
Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant?
Look at his
You
face.
see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see.
And also, too, that line, again, you can either go there mentally or you can't with the whole, like, take off your mask and see, and then the whole BK thing. Just, Brian Koberger's got no digital footprint prior to high school. I'm just saying there's enough of this type of stuff where it's a pattern that is purposeful. I feel that in my gut. I believe that to my core. This is 2025. As people have pointed out in the chat, and as I was just rattling it off, like, the body cam footage is bad. Linda Lane camera footage glitches. 1112 has however many wild things wrong with it. All of the cameras are grainy as hell. Right? It's nuts. And again, in addition to all that, this is how it is, like, the entire time the victim impact statements are going, and the entire time that they're saying stuff and people are clapping, and none of the attorneys look at the judge. What's even crazier too is Hippler doesn't even really move either. It's a still shot from that, not a streaming camera. Well, here, I'm not sure what you mean, Patricia, like that whoever's not talking isn't being streamed live and they just have a photo of them there, because the guy in the back kind of twiddles his thumb a little bit. But, you know, if I pull up the entire thing,
Gonsalves, Kaylee's brother.
Steven's actually going to pass it. Detail. The level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th,
This is the only camera in the upper right that's moving, in my opinion. And outside of this guy, every now and again, it's very strange.
2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or
None of them
never,
move.
ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months? If you were really smart, do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real?
You guys get my point. It's crazy. And Bellamicia, don't redact HR. Love that username. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I have come to the conclusion everything that was released in FOIA is not what happened. If they can cover up, tear down, and rebuild what they want known, they did the same to the documents as the audio. I 100% agree with you, Bellamicia. And I think you even proved that in some of the crime scene photos in your call-in. When I was able to edit the quick cut with the photo that you had sent from that Facebook group that you were mentioning in your call, Bellamicia, when I was able to use the raw crime scene photos and zoom in on those and not just zoom in on the one that was already made and take the raw photos, I mean, you can clearly tell that that napkin was moved from up against the bedside table to down on the floor, probably by about 5 to 6 inches. There was more blood on it. The shoe being moved from on top of that black like blanket or tarp or jacket to next to it. And I think you could have been spot on with your conclusion to that, Bellamicia, by saying, I wonder if they thought this was going to go to trial, and so they needed to figure out which pictures look worse for the shock factor for the jury. But it never did go to trial, and so they had to show all of them. It was a great call. That last Friday was up there. That's in the top 3 call-ins of the Hive for sure. Like as a collective episode or stream. Duke Scribe 777, good to see you, said, yeah, and the same in the photos from the living room, the Doc Martens, the boots, the backpacks, etc. Jen Whisk said, I agree with Bellamicia. Tara B said that made perfect sense. Whose footage is this? This is the same page that I screen recorded it from. It's East Idaho News. You guys want to go watch this on your own time? This is the channel that I got it from. I think Brian Koberger is in frozen shock phase in that video. Just chilling. ZNTC said, I saw a half-eaten taco on the floor too. Bellamicia followed up saying, yes, just think of all the differences if we took the time and looked at everything, like find the differences puzzle. How does that happen? Okay, one of the ways that it does happen is if you have used AI, okay? And no, I'm not saying that the crime scene is AI, but what I'm saying is that if you want to remove things from a photo and rather than go in and do it by Photoshop, or rather than go in and redact it because you absolutely can't even have something in that area blurred, you could put that photo into AI. And if you say, I need you to take the part out that I've circled, it could potentially readjust other parts of that photo and do things like move a napkin, move a shoe a little bit to the left. I mean, that happens a lot, right? If you're familiar with creating images on any AI platform, and you want it to redo it, very seldomly will it ever give you an exact duplicate of the small little details. Gramilla said Canva cut. I've literally done this. Yeah, I've shown this on stream too with the light bulb camera. UFO dog. I'm not going to read all those. Longtime Lurker 1 said those or the pictures were so disorganized in the release. We don't know at what point they were taken. I think that was purposeful. I mean, let's put ourselves in the position of as a collective Hive, and let's say that we wanted to cover something up. Do you know the runaround that we could give people before we release stuff with minimal effort? I mean, we could get so creative with minimal effort and it would mess people up, and it would be interesting to see how the public looks at it. Tuna Fish 919 said, Birdie, following long time from Australia. The Hive Down Under, love it. Said, really see the case not set in court the right way, though. A stream directed to why he pled guilty would be great. It's a good idea. A lot of people, it's one of the top comments that I get from people that haven't been following this case, that haven't looked into the documents since the updated material is, but why did he plea? Why did he plea? I think that would be a great stream. And I think it'd be a great stream too. You know, that might be one to get Ron Funk on, Custody Queens, maybe Ali Benevento from back in the day talking about it, which I don't know if you all remember that. How many people in here remember when Ali Benevento, Devil's Advocate, and I did a stream together and she brought up the Murdoch case and she had to keep her mouth closed because she said she knew some stuff that's going to prove what most will think is an unpopular opinion, and what just came out like last month with the Murdoch case. That's crazy to me. And if you don't know who Ali Benevento is, she was a top 5 lawyer, I think, in the East Coast. Okay, so there's some people in here that are saying, yes, I do. I saw that. My jaw was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, that was great, Sherry. Hilarious said, before my time. Third Apache, good to see you. Said, I would plead guilty if I was facing the firing squad and knew I wouldn't get a fair trial. It's a good poll. All right. If you were in... Oh. All right, Hive. This is going to be an interesting poll. Answer this honestly, okay? No hardo wannabe questions. I mean, I'll give it a little bit of time so you'd actually like get your mindset ready. But if you were in Brian Koberger's position, as is, would you have taken the plea deal? 1 for yes, 2 for no. And try to answer it as honestly as you can. I know you're doing it from the comfort of wherever you're watching this from, and you're not going on, multiple years of just getting railroaded, bent over the barrel, shown the 50 states. I'm going to let this go for a minute so that people who might be a little bit behind have a chance to do it. Right now, the poll is, it's 65% say yes, 37 say no. It's kind of moving back and forth. It's starting to even out a little bit. Tara said definitely 1. Book Girl Brown said, I will never admit to something I didn't do. It's my stubbornness. Bellamicia said, I love the Hive. Birdie, what did you say, Bellamicia? It's flying by. I love the Hive. Y'all are my people, and Birdie's the effing king of YouTube generation. Don't forget the mods. They kick. You rock, Bellamicia. You rock. Definitely made a great decision. I'm not sure how HR feels about these puppies here, but it's good for my stress, my blood pressure levels. All right, let's see what the final results are here. I'm going to stop this in 3, 2, 1. 57% of people said yes, they would have taken the plea deal if they were in Brian Koberger's position, and 43% of people said no. I would guess that the majority of people who said no would feel close to what Hot Girl Bummer 520 said, which is I'd take my chances. No way I'm spending my life in a cage. Lisa West said, I'd make sure I had a damn good lawyer. Formerly known as Beck, said hard no for me. Mindful Hayes said, I'm sure many of the people wouldn't want to take the plea deal, but had to. Sherry, we got 1,500 plus people in here. Said, hit the like button. We only got 561. Let's try to get to 1,000. Whenever we can get to 1,000 during the stream, I will give away some free memberships for the Saturday streams for the chat. I tend to lean with what Sleuth said too. I'd like to have enough faith in a jury of my peers that a shred of reasonable doubt, you'd have somebody speak up on a jury for you. But then again, it is a joke, but it's not that funny. You know, you still have people that don't understand the concept of a roundabout. Those are the same people that could be sitting on your jury trying to learn about cell phone pings and trace DNA and all this other stuff, and they don't even know how to use a damn roundabout. Those are the people that have your life in their hand. UFO Dog, thank you for the super chat. Said there are so many terabytes because of Hitler's Oz. Oh, that's funny, UFO Dog. That is funny. Mike DeSpit, thank you so much for the super chat. Said any difference in the appeal process for the death penalty? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a really good question. All right. If you are in, all right. Is there a difference in the appeal process if you are in prison and the death penalty is on the table versus off the table? Let's see what that says. Good question, Mike DeSpit. Thank you. Let's see. I'm sure there are some people that in here that already know, but a lot of people are saying it depends. I would guess it depends. I should have said for Idaho. Okay, so it says there's a huge difference. The appeal process becomes truly different only if the person is actually sentenced to death. So if the death penalty was, quote, on the table, but the person gets life in prison instead, their appeal is usually handed more like a normal serious felony appeal, not a death row appeal. So if the death penalty is off the table, the defendant can still appeal the conviction and sentence, but it is usually a standard criminal appeal. So it would go conviction, direct appeal, possible state, post-conviction, possible federal habeas, possible Supreme Court petition. The appeal usually argues things like bad jury instructions, evidentiary errors, ineffective counsel, constitutional violations, prosecutorial misconduct. If the death penalty is on the table but not imposed, this affects the trial, jury selection, sentencing, hearing, aggravating, mitigating evidence, and the record. But if the person is not sentenced to death, they usually do not get the special automatic death sentence review. Their appeal may include arguments about how the capital process affected the trial, but it's not the same as appealing an actual death sentence. Now, if it's actually imposed, that's where the process changes massively. A death sentence usually triggers automatic or mandatory review by the state's highest court, plus normal appeal rights. So in Idaho specifically, whenever the death penalty is imposed, the Idaho Supreme Court reviews the death sentence on the record, considers the punishment and appeal errors, and decides whether the sentence was influenced by passion, prejudice, arbitrary factors, or unsupporting aggravating circumstances. Idaho law also says that this death sentence review is in addition to direct appeal and consolidated with it if an appeal is taken. Wow. That seems like they do quite a bit to make sure that they got it right before you. Holy hell. That doesn't even get the goat award. That's getting the double stress titty Angel Heart. Christ. And the goat. You're getting everything that I can fit in my hands here. Jesus. Thank you so much for that massive super chat, Angel Heart. Angel Heart said, I agree, Mama Bella. This never had to become the train wreck it did if they had just done it correctly. In my soul, I keep feeling our little noodle take that dude down. The best part is that he suffered for days. Sometimes evil gets exactly what it deserves. Love you all. keep feeling our little noodle take that dude down. Meaning Xana taking somebody down and killing them. I'm assuming Angel Heart, I want to make sure I get this right, that you're talking about if Xana took down Mowich, the best part is that he suffered for days, meaning that he was found in Lewiston, stumbling around and life flighted, where he succumbed to his injuries. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Good. Wow. I would not be surprised if there ends up. Look, I understand there's going to be a lot of opinions on this, but I'm so curious because like nothing would shock me at this point. And it seems to be something that is big enough to cover up. And would anybody be surprised if Mowich was injured to the point by somebody that he had killed in that house and couldn't go to the hospital? I don't think it would shock me at all. If anything, I think it would really help clarify a lot of the oddities, and it would explain a reason for the cover-up. Germilla said Rico. Pieces of April said yes. Tam Cam said we won't know. He's cremated. Angel Heart. Well, Andrew, a goat. Appreciate it so much. What does that say? Not Jack Showalter said, I will repeat myself, and that's all. Go ahead. Ban me. Silence. Justice. What was said? Karma's Rain said, I keep saying that about Mowich. Cookie's Corner said no. Janice said, I agree. True to It said, makes sense. 1984 said, I think it was Mowich with those three dudes that went to his funeral. Lisa West said yes. That's a good way to put it, Chaos and Christina. At least in my opinion, it's that it would make more sense than it wouldn't make sense. Deb Tudoro said Mowich involved, in my opinion. Right. Why would he lie about his injuries? And it is odd that somebody from the hospital anonymously, go figure, called in and said it didn't match the wounds of a car wreck. Also, somebody, I'm forgetting the person's name in the Discord. I don't know if it was Cats Mojo. Somebody sent me this JLR video, which has the weirdest. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you all this too. So it's really hard to hear. So I started recording this, screen recording it to try to reduce the background noise. And okay, this is the weirdest thing that I've ever seen. Has anybody seen how JLR apparently 3 years ago in Idaho had found a recorder from a reporter that just so happened to have uploaded the recordings, and then somebody tells him, hey, he threw it away in the back of the Staples in a dumpster? Okay, I want you all to listen to this beginning part. This is so weird.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Brian Kohlberger case. I have an audio recording I'm going to play for everyone. This is a recording between a customer and Jack in the Box employees. The Jack in the Box in Pullman, Washington, that is right down the street from where Brian Kohlberger lived at the Steptoe Apartments. This conversation was given to me between the customer and Jack in the Box, and it's discussing about the DoorDash.
Oh, wait.
Delivered.
Wait, this isn't it. I'm sorry. This isn't it. This one. This is the weirdest beginning. He used like a very similar thumbnail. Sorry. I was trying to listen to it earlier today, but listen to this.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am covering the Moscow, Idaho Brian Kohlberger case. I have secret audio tapes, everyone, that I want to share with all of you. These are audio tapes that I obtained. These are audio tapes of a journalist in the Moscow, Idaho area interviewing numerous people about the Brian Kohlberger case before Brian Kohlberger got arrested. Let me tell you a little bit of backstory first on how I obtained these tapes. An associate of mine in Moscow got a hold of me and said, hey, JLR, there is some audio recordings in the dumpster in back of Staples. And it seems like it came from a reporter who was interviewing a lot of people in Moscow. Do you want them? Of course I want them, right? I want to hear what they say and what they said. And this is a reporter. I won't name the reporter, but he was interviewing. He actually, I guess he went into Staples or a store and bought a pocket recorder and then put the pocket recorder in his pocket. And then we're going and talking to people and recording. And afterward, maybe he uploaded all the material or whatnot, but threw the recorder away and threw it into the dumpster. So it's fair game. It's not his recordings. He put it in the trash. It was found in the trash. So I'm going to share what was said with all of you, and then we will further discuss. Go through it. It's about an hour long, but it's different conversations this individual had, and it kind of gives you the idea of how journalists work and how they go around the area recording people and talking to people and interviewing people to extract information. Brian Kohlberger was not yet caught. He was still on the loose, and a reporter was trying to get some insight of what's going on. So check these recordings out, and then we'll further discuss.
Testing this beautiful device with my friend Nathaniel. The fucker.
In there and send it right to the state. You have the FBI that has access to all federal agencies, right, and they have access to secure warrants at a moment's notice. So, I mean, yeah, this is a tough case, but the PD is, they do their best.
He's talking to, I believe, the fire captain from a handful of years ago. He's talking to some captain. It was hard to hear. But anyways, I want to say, too, if you guys go and listen to this, like I said, it goes in and out. You got to remember, this is before Brian Kohlberger's arrested. And the way that they're talking about it is totally as if, like, the guy he's talking to definitely knows some stuff. And he says, oh, you know, even though he had a career working with the people investigating this and is very familiar on how the process with the FBI works and how these agencies and all the resources that they have at their fingertips, he says, well, I only stick to reading what the paper says. Yeah, because reading a newspaper about this case is so normal, even in 2022. But he's speaking between the lines. He's talking a lot about just how they work together really well with these agencies. And he's not saying that he for sure knows, but he's saying that Bill Thompson is one of the best and smartest men that he knows. Very strange comment, right? So could already be in on it. This is also, again, before any of us knew anything about Bill Thompson. He talks about Detective Vargas and how she's just an incredible detective. It's very interesting. But I agree with what Creepily Goth said. Just the setup of this is like, oh my God, there's somebody. And again, I heard Daily Mail after the reporter says his name when he walks up to this guy. Oh my God, somebody just happened to drop a recorder that they have talking to an ex-chief of the fire department or somebody that worked in the Moscow area as a chief or a captain for years. Just so happened to dump it in the dumpster of Staples, and it's free game. Like, what? I don't buy it. But this is a really interesting listen. If you guys do want to check it out, like I said, I'm in the process of trying to record it and then reduce the audio or the background noise slightly, because it does get windy or it's moving around in its pocket. But if you want to listen in the meantime, that is the title of the video. So now, going back to some Hive Mind finds, this comes from 3Shay3. I think this might be the closest soul print of the of another shoe print that was found in Xana's room, and it was replying to Lurker. If you have tuned in, I used one of Lurker's Hive Mind finds earlier last week, and 3Shay3 responded and said, Lurker, I don't know if anyone has said this, but regarding the inverted shoe print, one of the closest matches I've found is what I would assume are a pair of Ethan's shoes in Xana's room. I don't know if the size will line up, but this is what my Google searches came up with. And it's a Nike GTS black shoe. You look at the prints here. These are in the room as well. I could see this. I think these look very similar. And the fact that they're sitting there in Xana's room next to a key, maybe changed into the dress shoes or after the shoes, but I don't know. It doesn't make any sense that it's there if it was Ethan's. So I agree. Miss Pac-Man 11. Love the username. Said it looks dead on. Philly Girl said yes. But yeah, I mean, that's very close. Markayla Ballard said, were his clothes confirmed to be in the bathroom? I mean, we'd be going off of Lakeland's video that she got to just, send to the investigators. But I would say yes. But I believe that this matches up really, really closely. And I always like when people take, a past Hive Mind find and they dive deeper on it. Now, okay. How I'd like to finish this stream is talking about this. Now, what would happen if in both of the rooms there were curly fries? Right? So I'm going to show you all some photos first. We're going to then obviously make the determination if it's curly fry. Luna, Sleuth, UFO Dog, Dawn, they've sent this to me a handful of times over the last couple of months, and it's not that we were hiding it or not putting it on the stream. We might have even shown it, but I'm not sure if we really knew, what to make of it. And at this point, I think it's worth revisiting. Okay. And so I'm going to put this full screen. What do you all think? So this image here is up on the shelf by Kaylee's door. And so you can kind of see it on the left-hand side. If you were looking at Kaylee's wall, where this plant is, the fry is on the left side. And then it zooms in each photo. I believe that looks like a curly fry. Now, I want to know how the hell, if it is a curly fry, does that get into Kaylee's room? And I want to give a shout out to Thoughts Loading. I believe that is the Thoughts Loading and Shock phase here in the Hive, unless they've changed their username. But shout out to Thoughts Loading for this from the Discord. Okay, so Lauren Lovely saying, yep, that's a curly fry. Markayla said, holy shit. Hey, what's up? Hello. Is that in the Fetty Wap voice? Said, definitely looks like a curly fry. Duke Scribe said, oh. Don't drink chunky milk. Said, I always stash my curly fries for a rainy day. Krista said, that's weird. It's Psycho Fool said, it almost looks like pizza crust. I could see that, kind of. Pizzas of April. I said pizzas of April. Whoops. Pieces of April said pizza crust. UFO Dog said, it does look like curly fry. Luna said, it's a MF curly fry. I would, well, let's see. This would be a good poll question. I'll put one up. So and then I'll put it full screen after I type this. All right. All right. So I put 3 options. I said, does this look to be a curly fry in Kaylee's room? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for other, being pizza crust or some other food. I'll put this full screen, take the chat down. So all you got to do to vote is type a 1, 2, or 3 on your keypad on your phone. It'll automatically populate. If I had to vote, I'm voting. I would vote 1. I think it's a curly fry. And if it's, is there any way that it's not food? I mean, what else could that be? I think it looks like food. Bravery Beats Fear said it's probably from Dylan or Bethany, who was in her room earlier and they were all eating after the grub truck. I mean, do you just set? I mean, to me, I get it's college. I mean, how many people would just set a half-eaten fry on someone's shelf? I also feel like the action of it getting there is strange. License to Chill said we need the image from further out. I mean, this is kind of this is like the only angle it's available from. So I just kind of zoomed in. The lower left, I guess this is zoomed out. All righty. Somebody said onion ring toss. All right, I'm going to stop the votes in 3, 2, 1. And the results are 69%. Don't get too excited, UFO dog. 69% said yes, 7% said no, and 24% said it's other, it's pizza crust, etc. I do believe this is a very interesting and intriguing find, though. Again, shout out to Thoughts Loading, Hive Mind Find. Same thing to the mods, Sleuth, Luna. Mike DeSpit said he would have known that for sure. Oh, I agree. In regards to the death penalty being on the table versus off the table in his appeal, 100%. Totally agree. Riley Church said, your right to a fair trial depends on whether or not it's convenient for the state for you to have one. Facts. Well said. Money is the only thing that guarantees fair treatment. Our justice system serves who pays it. Sad. Well said, Riley. I love that fair sign, or the first sentence about your right to a fair trial depends on whether or not it's convenient for the state for you to have one. Oh, there you are, lucid dreaming and shock phase. Nice. I thought this is what I was referring to. Yes. Birdie, I changed my username, LOL, but I think whoever lured okay, I already know that this is a great comment here. Birdie, I changed my username, but I think whoever lured Murphy into the room or out to the balcony could have used that to get him there. I don't know, but there's smaller pieces on the right side. So these are the only photos that I have now. But that's a really good thought. Lucid dreaming and shock phase. You could use it to lure Murphy out with food. Again, whether or not that's what happened, I always respect the thought process of people who have thoughts like that. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is a very good find, and it's a very, very interesting placement of it, to say the least. Philly Girl said, I said that. A lot of people seem to have said it. I just saw somebody else say I said that. That's true. What if it's a dog treat? Sleep good, Sherry. What's up, JJ? Guys, just to let everybody know, too, JJ will be back in the Hive this Wednesday. Very excited about that. So looking forward to having JJ State of the Deep here back in the Hive on Wednesday. Great job again, Lucid Dreaming and Shock Phase. Kiss Me Where I Pee said Brian in a balaclava doing high knees, holding his mini vacuum, telling Dylan to get right cut, eating curly fries. Shit. Makes a whole lot of sense. It makes more sense than what they told us, right? If he would have actually done that, At least it's a cohesive progression. I mean, this is the most insane case I've ever seen. Thank you for the super chat. Kiss me where I pee. Appreciate that. The only thing is if Koberger had a stress titty in the other hand, right? Would it even make it that much wilder at that point? Formerly known as Beck said, my doodle could be lured with food. Lisa said that makes sense to lure Murphy out or in the room. Kiss me where I pee said Murphy can't get it if it's up high like that. Yeah, but what if somebody was just like holding it in their hand, like, come here, Murphy, come on. Like a treat is how I interpreted it. Yeah, why else would you put it there? I agree, Tam Cam. Well, this is a good point too, Mindy White. Mindy said, I think most of us have been drunk enough at some point in our lives to have accidentally lost a curly fry somewhere. True. Maybe you're being funny. I could see that. Now that you say, you know, again, the state of mind if you're drunk. Two kinds of crazy 76 said, so the coroner is the only one that can fire the sheriff. And she is also a defense attorney. Conflict of interest, another example of how corrupt they are. A lot of stuff going on in that area. Guys, please go ahead and hit that like button if you had not. I have a handful of other slides, again, just as a reminder. So if this is a curly fry, my question was, does that change any of the events that happen in the house? So I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are thinking, well, no, it doesn't, because Kaylee, somebody could have left it there. It doesn't necessarily mean that Xana put it there, but I wanted to just kind of talk about it at a high level. If it was, which I mean, we had almost 70% of people think that it was a curly fry, right? Does that change the series of events that happened, you know, the living room stairs and this half wall? And I don't really know how to explain how it might look differently or how it might look this way if Xana did. However, it does look like a curly fry. We know there was Jack in the Box curly fries sitting on the microwave. We know that there was curly fries in Xana's room on the plate. And now there was one on Kaylee's shelf. That's very odd. Altruistic Murder said it changes the intent of the order of the meal. Another piece of evidence they didn't test, the DNA. Great point, Lisa. Yeah. Did they test the end of that curly fry? Bag it up. It's the curly fry cult. CB from Philly said it's not real. It can't be. Kreger said, I'm not going to be eating curly fries anytime soon. Polar Life Force said, them flying fries. Hold my curly fry said, I'm good friends with Bill Thompson. Oh my God, these usernames are getting out of hand. I don't think that they did mark it. Thoughts loading or Luna or anybody that has pointed this out. Does anybody know? I don't know off the top of my head. I didn't see any photos with the marker next to it as far as what was sent to me. Does anybody know if this was marked? It's a great question. Well, that's true, Chef MKE. As far as like, did Xana not eat yet? Didn't they say that Ethan's stomach was empty with no solid foods, etc.? Again, something that should be rather established at this point is not. The food and the stomach contents and the DoorDash order cause a massive discrepancy in the timeline. Seems Stable said it's a weird place for the fry to land or be placed. Totally agree. Totally agree. Charlie from Oz said they probably didn't even see it. Deb said it was a party house. I'm sure there were food fights at some point. True. I mean, again, though, I just think of like, what are the odds that Jack in the Box, if it is a curly fry, given how important the DoorDash driver is, and it was delivering Jack in the Box, we know there was curly fries and there's some in Xana's room. It would just be so strange, in addition to everything else that's so strange in this case, that a damn curly fry is also on Kaylee's shelf. Fork on the nightstand, and there's a white bowl in the kitchen with more curly fries, Sleuth said. Tracy, if I've been calling you Trace, I'm sorry. Tracy said they didn't mark it. Creepily Goth pointed out, yep, as we know, a lot was not seen by LE. Debbie said, didn't they order pizza too? It kind of looks like pizza crust. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people started saying pizza crust. It's rumored for sure there's Domino's box in the back patio. Jody said they ordered pizza. Kiss Me Where I Pee said, bruh, ain't no way someone is throwing food at me. They can get right with a left upper hook. Very specific type of punch. Lauren Lovely said, I think Molly had a fake DoorDash because someone called for mom and dad to help. Calls were made and a story was fabricated. My boys, K9 said, could be a dog treat. That curly fry looks fresh. Donnie W said, this whole case is so weird. I swear they are still working to make it more twisted, and I don't think they have quit yet. Crazy Bird Lady said DM and BF claimed X or Xana wasn't home when they were in Kaylee's room that night. Kaylee also had the cleanest room, so definitely odd to have a curly fry in there. DM said they were asleep when Xana came home. True. Who do I see a not Jack Showalter people are telling me to address? Is that Dylan Mort 2.0 with a different name? That's what I was thinking. So that's why I haven't said anything. I trust the mods. Not Jack Showalter said, you see, in the future, this will be used to shut this shit down. You people are inhuman, truly. You're using somebody's face, or you're using their profile picture and their full name as your username to come into the chat and troll. And that's just, I mean, that's weirder. We're trying to figure out what happened. You're just using somebody who's peripherally involved in the case with their username. Sydney Lauren Lifestyle said, dumb question, but who are the mods? We got formerly known as Beck, Luna Bliss. Hope I did those backwards. We have Discord Dawn, and then we have the UFO dog. Dan said, okay, I have a theory. I wonder if fly eggs or maggots, as well as beetles, appeared that Sunday or days after. If the crime scene investigators collect them for evidence, think suspect's blood. I'm not sure we would ever get to see those photos, you know. You left me with no choice. And if you tune in, you know I never do that. But anyways, yes, the mods are in blue. That's correct, UFO dog. Her name's Rio said, oh, yeah, it does look like pizza crust. I'll put this up again one more time. And Angel Heart said, we have established it's a curly effing fry. LOL, but it didn't happen with Xander Ethan. Love you guys, trolls. STFU. Sorry, Hive. We are an extremely welcoming chat, but it's like you could just kind of tell when somebody is doing their thing. I mean, it is what it is. I trust the mods fully 100%. I think the mods do a phenomenal job. However, I will say I was kind of convinced that was Dylan Mort, but I don't think it was. Different. Yeah, he didn't call us a peasant at any point, so I don't think it was him. But Angel Heart, thank you so much for the super chat and the memberships and the massive other super chat. You are too kind. Seriously, I appreciate you so much. People are weird. You can't sit with us, said Kiss Me Where I Pee. Oh man. What a great stream this evening. Like I said, my goal tonight was just to really show a ton of Hive Mind finds and really encourage people to join our Discord. You know, I love doing these. I have some stuff that I've been working on as far as Brian Koberger related, and how, again, for a long time, I've been trying to figure out how the hell did they connect? How did they think? How did the FBI think to even give Brian Koberger's name as a tip? I mean, I'm looking into the days prior to that tip being received and what Brian was doing. Can I track down anything? Are there any, interviews or articles where they talk about seeing Koberger in between that time? If you have any, that would be something I would encourage people to post in Hive Mind Finds. But I really want to see, Brian Koberger's movement and activity prior to the FBI tip that they gave with the DNA. And Kiss Me Where I Pee said Birdie for baby diapers. I love it. I love it. You are too kind. I was on the phone with my mom today. She was telling me, she was like, I was at what store was she at? I think like Target or something. She was like, and I was looking at diapers. She's like, I cannot believe how expensive the diapers are. She's like, I thought even when you guys were babies that they were expensive. She's like, now it's crazy. And I haven't even looked yet. So I'm sure I'm about to get blindsided with that. So I appreciate that. Kiss Me Where I Pee. Bust Diablo making an appearance. And Hive, with that, please hit that like button again. I appreciate everybody who does choose to hit the like button, hit subscribe. That's the best way to support this stream and this channel. And if you'd like to scan this QR code to join our Discord, follow me on TikTok, the Spotify playlist for all the intro songs, that is where you can find it, is attached to that QR code. Same thing with Hive Plus. If you'd like to join Hive Plus, get access to the emojis, have a loyalty badge next to your name. And then on select Saturdays, when I do the War Room, which is different than this stream, it's much less presentation. It's a lot more collaboration. We'll dive into anything and everything. I do that on Saturdays when I can. So thank you to everybody who does choose to support the stream financially. On those streams, we shut down the chat just for the members. However, everybody can watch it. It's the only day we do that. And with that, Hive, thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Appreciate it. Knees to chest, bish. These usernames, friggin' hilarious. Book Girl Brown, thank you for tuning in. Said, I buy them for my grandson. $50 for 2 packages. Jesus. Pamela said, I celebrated the day when each of my 2 children were done with diapers. Thanks for tuning in, UK Karen. Thank you, Duke Scribe. Great Hive Mind Find tonight. Lou, thank you. Twisted Timo, you have a great night. Mumrad, I'm in me mom's car. Hottie JG, thank you for the super chat. Said, not about fries, but Mowich son's initials are JS. He lived in the Queen's apartment like Showalter, and Brent Kopaka's initials are BK. Did Ellie just find stand-ins for the real perp? It's not a stretch at all, Hottie JG. I'm so glad you said that. I think that we need to start to cross-reference that stuff. We really should. Especially if the Jesse James Bailey street alias is BK. Like I said, I'd shit a brick. I mean, that's just the craziest coincidence ever. And thank you so much, Hottie JG, for the super chat. I believe that's some Danish currency. Love that. Love the Danish Hive. Going back to some of my roots, my family roots. Miss Pac-Man, you sleep good. Noah's mom. Have a great day in the Hive down under in Australia. Lisa, great comments tonight. Gurmilla, Life of Chrissy Marie, Janice, Tara B, Chef MKE said later Gators. And Sabrina, you have a great night as well. UFO Dogs, sleep well. Thank you, Riley. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Cheers, everyone.